So some of the emails reviewed by Reuters show the transfer of UN Security Council briefings and other confidential documents to Epstein during that period. It sounds like a Hillary Clinton laptop scandal.
Yeah.
Aden has denied wrongdoing. The French Foreign Ministry has also begun an administrative investigation and disciplinary proceedings against Aden. But let's start off with the Rothschilds, because there was a raid that occurred this week in Paris of the Swiss bank Edmond de Rothschild, which is exactly what you think it is. And what was interesting, Deef, is that Ariane de Rothschild, who was mentioned in the Epstein files a lot, she had a very close bond, if you will, with Jeffrey Epstein, pause, she was present for this raid. I don't know whether that's a good sign, a constructive sign, or a not great sign, because she's just winking to all the investigators like, you ain't gonna find nothing here.
Yeah, my instinct says that's like it's like the setup, Yeah. I'm gonna be present. I'm gonna be there.
That's right.
You caught me red-handed. All right.
All right. Did I give you a Reuters link for this, by the way?
Yeah. I had to archive it.
This because it wouldn't pull up.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a report, as I said, from Reuters from March 24th. So that was this week. Hey guys, 3 quick things. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's a huge, huge help. Number 2, if you'd like to join my Patreon for early uncensored releases of the full episodes, you can join via the link in my description or in the pinned comment below. And number 3, if you'd like to join my clipping community for a chance to make content from the show and make money, you can join via the Discord link in my description below. French investigators raided the Paris offices of Swiss bank Edmond de Rothschild as part of a corruption investigation into a diplomat named in documents linked to late U.S. sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, the financial prosecutor's office said on Tuesday. The name of Fabrice Adan, a middle-ranking French diplomat who was seconded to the United Nations from 2006 to 2013 and later worked at the bank, appeared in more than 200 documents released by the U.S. Justice Department. These include emails he is alleged to have sent Epstein between 2010 and 2016 from his personal and UN accounts. It's nice that he was doing it on the government email as well, just for record keeping. Make sure, like, hey, in the future, obviously, like, I'm talking with my good buddy Jeff, nothing to hide here. Want to make sure everyone, including 2 assholes in Hoboken, later doing a podcast, will be able to review these transcripts and discuss them because, again, nothing to hide.
It's like signing up for Brazzers with your school email.
That's right.
.edu.
That's right. I definitely never did that before.
I didn't either. I should have, looking back on it. But anyway.
All right. So some of the emails reviewed by Reuters show the transfer of UN Security Council briefings and other confidential documents to Epstein during that period. It sounds like a Hillary Clinton laptop scandal.
Yeah.
Aden has denied wrongdoing. The French Foreign Ministry has also begun an administrative investigation and disciplinary proceedings against Aden. They are taking this very seriously. I don't have a good French accent. The ministry and Aden's lawyer did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The search was carried out on Friday. This is what I was referring to, in the presence of Ariane de Rothschild, the Swiss bank's boss. A source close to the bank said Edmond de Rothschild, the bank, was cooperating fully with the justice system in the investigation. How do you cooperate with the justice system that you probably finance the people that they work for?
You say, hey, I'm thinking 11. They're like, oh, we were thinking 10. Do 11.
They're
like, okay, you got it, boss.
That's exactly what you and I are on the same page.
Yeah, come on.
So, adding, the internal inquiry has been launched as soon as suspicions emerged concerning the former employee who worked at the bank from 2014 to 2016. Okay. So, there's a few things here. Obviously, something is better than nothing, but it could all be for show. Mm-hmm. Some of the suspicions you already mentioned, Deef, I share with you. It's like, is this just kind of like, let's feed the fucking plebs something, a little bread and circus, call it a day. By the way, there's a war going on. People forget about this by Monday in the news cycle.
Yep.
But they weren't counting on a Saturday episode of our podcast. So we're going to do our little part.
Come on now.
There's another point here. He was listed as, what did it say, Deef? A seconded what to the UN?
He was a French diplomat seconded to the United Nations from 2006 to 2013.
So he wasn't like the ambassador to the UN. He wasn't the head honcho on all that. And I can't believe I haven't thought of this to this point. This is kind of an oversight on my part. But these are more the people I would have expected to see Jeffrey Epstein dealing with in emails. Because obviously we see these emails. It's not to say he hasn't dealt with people like this. And by these people, I'm referring to more like middlemen. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Not the janitor, but not the head honcho.
Yep.
Somewhere in between. You know, obviously, again, like we've seen some people where that is probably what they are in the emails, but a lot of these emails are with the billionaire, the fucking Rothschilds, literally with Ariane de Rothschild, the actual ambassador from country A to country B, the future or former director of CIA, the head of DARPA, like all these different, the former prime minister of fucking Israel, all these people who are extremely high level. And the reason I point this out is because you guys have heard me talk about the book Gideon's Spies before. And just as a refresher, that's from the late 90s. It was basically an inside view into Mossad, if you will. And one of the things that's talked about, I believe, right in the first chapter, in the first chapter of that book, is how they really train, in this case, the Mossad Katyas. I think that's the term. I forgot to check if that's exactly what it is, so check me in the comments on that. But how they train the Katyas, the case agents, to target people. And the example they were using, you've heard me talk about on a recent episode, which was the Katya who was in Paris, who was under code name like Henry or Peter or something like that. When he was going to Dief in my favorite hotel that they let us into one time, the Ritz in Paris, side story there. But when he was going to the Ritz and trying to develop a source, he wasn't targeting, again, the janitor, because that's too low. But he also wasn't targeting the hotel manager or any of the very high-level people there who are extremely directly connected in more of, say, a power position to the VIP guests to come there. Instead, he was targeting, as he was taught, someone in the middle. And in this case, it was the designated driving chauffeur for the guests, which was Henri Paul, who ended up being the driver, who was intoxicated, who drove Princess Diana out the back door on Rue Cambon, eventually to her death. And obviously there's a lot of other things that probably happened there. But you get the point. That was actually the source at the hotel that the Katya was targeting, because a guy like Henri, he's not calling the shots. He's more told what to do. And it's like, oh yeah, he gets the job done. He drives people. He gets them from point A to point B. We can depend on Henri over here. But he also, through that position, has access to everyone important coming into the hotel, because, again, they're sending those people, for lack of a better word, into his possession, if you will, or onto his schedule. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Mm-hmm. So when I saw this guy being at the center of the raid, when Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with him occurring in the 2010s and starting all the way back in 2006 was when the guy was, not to say he's a powerless person, but a more middling person as it relates to the UN, not one of the guys you see giving the stump speeches all the fucking time on camera. I found this to be more on brand for what you see from regular spies. And let's say, while again, he's talking to him brazenly and sharing confidential documents over fucking email, Gmail no less, outside of the brazenness and carelessness, if you will, or nonchalance of doing it that way, these are more the ties I would have expected to see before these files dropped at a higher volume, if you will. So that was just very, very fascinating. But the fact that, Deef, we've gone in such a short time from, you can't even mention the name of like these world banking families, including the Rothschilds, to now like you have one, the Rothschilds, who's front and center and being discussed in mainstream media by name with some of the family members as well, by meetings that have occurred, by the files that we can see. It's like you're finally shining a light, to go back to that supra government idea, on that top layer, to where you, me, and all of you out there listening can at least get a little kernel of information as to how this works and the types of people who are in there. The fact that a place like that, and this makes all the sense in the world. I don't think this is like some sort of fucking brand new idea or something, but the fact that a place like this also to bring on someone who's going to be a vice president or something like that, they're looking for people who have been in global circles, if you will, pun intended right there. Like a guy like this who's a deal maker and maybe has some weird ties that can then come in and use all his powers and all his skills, you know, to be like a great whatever he is for them.
Yeah, a whatever he is.
A whatever he is.
Pays well.
That was one of the things at the bank, because for those of you who don't know, when I first came out of college, I worked at a bank. I worked at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Because I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do with my life. I was dumb enough to think it was going to be at a bank. I immediately hated it. There's a lot of rules there. Didn't make any sense. It's pretty much where creativity goes to die, which is directly against what my entire personality is. But I did work with some great people on my team. That said, you know, we had a small team there, and it's such a big place and many different departments. And one of the things that I realized is, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this in other industries if you worked in it.
I know what you're going to say.
Is that what do you think I'm going to say?
That, like, there's like, you'll like look at some people and you're just like, what the fuck do you even actually do?
It's
like,
pretty close.
Okay.
It's like right in the same neighborhood is what I'm saying. Yes, there's some of that. But like the veil of superiority was dropped, meaning when you're growing up in a way, you see these people in a suit, maybe they're driving a Mercedes or something like that, and they're talking on the phone and sounding like, you know, they're crunching numbers and know what's going on. And then you see them at their desk doing their job, and you realize they're really only good if one thing, like at one thing. And even at that thing, they're kind of winging it. You know, they're like, well, where's the wind today? All right, it's floating this way. I guess I'll float that way. And so I started to realize that like a lot of what we just take for granted around us when we cross the street and expect society to work. I started looking outside banks. After this, I'm like, we just assume the cars are going to be in the right lane and the other ones are going to be in the opposite right lane coming the other way. And it's like, what if just one day they weren't? You know, like, and that's a visual of it, but you get what I'm saying. Like, what if one day the things that we assumed just made society work just didn't? Because at the end of the day, all the little nodes in there of individual people who are working, they're all doing one or two things, and a lot of them are kind of winging it on the job. And I think that we're probably seeing that even at some of the most powerful places like a Rothschild bank, they're hiring people because of who they know and where they've been rather than what they can do from a skill perspective at the actual job title that they're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the best thing you can have are stupid nerds. Like you don't want a nerd who's like actually really good at what they do and is like thinking out. You want like a stupid nerd who's like really good at working the CRM.
Yep.
But then like the veil for me gets lifted when I'm sitting in a meeting and like he knows a lot about Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and I'm like, damn, like he's too keyed in on this shit. You know? Like you see it, and that's the guy in the suit that you think's a power player.
Yeah, you think he's, and then you're like, wait a minute,
and he's like, you haven't tried Half Baked? You haven't tried the Tonight Dough with Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah, people are simpler than we give them credit.
Nah,
for
I
in a lot of
appreciate
ways.
it. I'm being facetious,
but there was also another little under the radar Rothschild related story this week with a certain banker, Francois Pauly, being named the new head of the Vatican Bank. Luxembourg-based executive Francois Pauly has been appointed to lead the Vatican Bank, replacing the long-standing chair of the Institute for Religious Works. Pauly, currently chairman of Compagnie Financière La Luxembourgie, one of the shareholders of insurance group Lalix, is set to become chairman of the IRR's supervisory board following a meeting scheduled on April 28th. This is a guy who used to be a director of the Rothschild Bank, and it's directly showing you that, you know, again, big club, you ain't in it. Little club, you ain't in it. Like these lines find their way to each other. And this perked my attention because there is a great book written by Gerald Posner, I believe called The Vatican, God's Bankers or something like that, about the Vatican Bank. I read that a few years ago. Very eye-opening. You know, you would like to think a religious institution would just be all about religion, obviously. That's never how it works, right? Yeah. Why are you looking at me concerned, Dave?
No, I just kind of had a tinfoil moment because didn't Peter Thiel do like his big famous talks at the Vatican like a week or two ago?
Right outside, right by where we were standing.
Yeah, and then 2 days ago, the Pope met with exorcists to discuss the problem with like rising Satanism, and then a day later, a Roth. I don't know. I'm just fucking around, guys. I'm just fucking around.
You're just drawing some lines.
Yeah, no, I just think that's weird though. I just thought about that.
I think that's pretty weird too.
Yeah,
Peter Thiel, like also. Again, I got a lot of problems with the Catholic Church. I got a lot of problems with institutions that, like I'm going to talk about in a sec, that do horrible things and use the veil of religion of all things as the space to commit the acts they do behind closed doors. But you have gotten me to the point where I'm going to be very much defending the Catholic Church in this particular situation to see the elephant balls, and I don't mean that as a compliment.
Oh no.
On someone like Peter Thiel to so purposely, geographically conduct a talk like that. And he did it secretly, but then it leaked, and
yeah,
that's part of the plan. To do that so close to that place when you are like read the room, Peter.
Yeah.
Read the room. People don't want to go get dinner with you. They're not looking at you like you're this special thing, and I'm talking about all of us here on Main Street. They're not looking at you like you're this special thing that people want the access to and they want to know. At the end of the day, you're someone who can't formulate a sentence without fucking stuttering 40 million times to Sunday. And yeah, you're worth billions of dollars, but you're a part of every fucking semen secret society and connected to the biggest sex trafficker in modern history like Jeffrey Epstein. Far more than you said in the past. To the point that it's like you're just an asshole. Like, that's what it is. So people don't give a fuck what you think about the coming of the Antichrist and stuff like that. The only reason let me correct a little small part of that statement. The only reason we might give a fuck about it, and you will hear me talk about it, and you guys may want to listen to some of that, but let me know in the comments on that, is because you might be the Antichrist. You might be projecting it like, hey, I'm the guy. Hey, you know that fucking Palantir thing? That's my data sucking machine to bring back satanic rice. Like, that could be you. I don't know. But the cojones in a bad way. I wasn't trying to be funny on that.
He's the dude at a house party who like steals something from, and he runs in. He's like, dude, I think someone took something from your mantle. Well, you gotta find that piece of shit.
What do they call it? Like a
kleptomaniac, yeah. But he like gets ahead of it by being the one to like take notice that something was stolen. It's in his car.
Oh, I can't say this one on air. Remind me to tell you about a dude another friend of ours told me about who was famously one of those. It's gonna break your heart, but it's very weird because it's exactly like what you're saying. They what the thrill is in coming out and saying, look, someone's stolen everything.
Yeah.
And
there's something to that. Like some of the nicest people are kleptos. It's weird.
This guy was regarded as a very good guy.
Yeah, it's like a fetish of sorts.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's definitely a fetish. But again, like the world, obviously, when there's a huge event like Iran going on, the world's going to continue to go on. And I know that is the case. I mean, like a lot of other things are going to be happening around it. But when you see like all these things kind of happening in a very small period, just very quietly, people getting named the head of a bank of an old institution, it's kind of at the center like world power. You know, that same bank also being in the middle of an investigation where the familial fucking bloodline lady who runs it is standing there saying nothing to see here. You know, like when you see stuff like this, it's very hard not to like go from point A to point B to point C to point D and say, you know, maybe they're trying to skip E and go straight to G. And I want to know what's on E and F.
Yeah, and friends
Just
will be
saying.
like, why would they do that? And I'm like, why would they not?
Why would they not?
Why would we? Start asking that question.
Thief, that's the better question.
Come on.
They've been doing it since the dawn of time. The difference is now we got YouTube and X.
You see these scumbags in Hoboken blowing up our game, son?
Yeah, someone somewhere is like, all right, yeah, hit the button. They got to go.
His name is Julian Dorey and his friend Beef.
Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, we'll just hope they keep getting the name wrong, and then we can just keep floating under the radar,
slide under the radar.
We'll
Yeah,
keep Googling it. Like, no, there's nothing coming up. No addresses in Hoboken. Shit.
This kid in Jersey City, Joey Beef, got gunned down at a smoothie store today.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge, huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.